Hi, welcome back. Thank you again so much for joining me on this journey. So, session 3, week 2, and how did your 7-11 and breathing practices get on? Now I'm going to be sending you a little email this week just to see how you're getting on, and I'd love to hear your feedback. Of course, it's not a necessity. Just want to know how you're getting on and see if I can help. So this session, we're going to be looking at some simple microtechniques. And these things we can use throughout our day. Now, too often when times get tough, and well, it would be a very brave person to say that the current situation isn't. Certainly in my lifetime. We fall back into these old, unhelpful habits, call upon old tools that just no longer serve us. Now, if we briefly reflect back onto last week's talk on how our mind works, a big part of our environment, the security guard checking his clipboard or her clipboard, recognizes that it sees a threat and engages that stress response system. And this is a habit that we've had for hundreds of millions of years, and it's worked, got us to where we are today. Although now we just seem to feel like it's unhelpful. It doesn't feel like it's doing its job correctly. Now, along with these other habits that we have that we've probably used 1,000 times, they're so well ingrained. The good thing is that science has proven that we can change these old habits. The mind is malleable and can change. It's plastic and change into newer, more helpful habits. So this week we're going to be exploring some more helpful evidence-based tools that you can use during the day to ease this response system. Now, these micro techniques are an opportunity in small doses to begin to get more intimate with how we're thinking and how we're feeling and how we're reacting to our environment. Like the 7-11 breathing, we're not trying to distract ourselves by breathing in that way. We're noticing that we're getting or feeling anxious, and then using the body that we have to ease that response system. We're using the correct tools rather than distraction. We're understanding and utilizing. Now let's try another practice that helps us to recognize that there is a system within us that helps ease the feeling of anxiety. Now this little practice will seem a little sadistic, but I promise, as you'd expect, that there is a reason we're doing these things. So I ask you please just to trust me. And even if you find that this particular one doesn't work, there's going to be others that we're going to be doing shortly, or even falling back into that 7-11 or breathing practice. Now in the email I asked you to bring along a piece of pen and a paper, and we're going to start to need it now. Now if you haven't got it, please go grab it and come back. Press pause first though, okay? So if you've left, welcome back. If you're still here, hello again. So what I want you to do is draw a box in the top of it, and then a line down the middle of the box like this. Now what I'd like you to do on the left hand side, and this is where it's going to sound a little sadistic, so please bear with me on it. I want you to bring to mind someone in your life that I guess when you think of them, they just don't bring up fond memories. Now don't get all altruistic on me. By that I mean, you've learnt this, you've managed this, blah, 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 blah. I look at them with sadness now, whatever it is. Just focusing on the difficult points. Now we can go all the way back to our childhood if it needs to, or maybe even to a boss right now, but anyone we think of, we find them difficult to be around. And all I want you to do in this left box is just write down why they were so difficult to be around. How did they make you feel? Why did they make you feel like that? Why were they so difficult? And so you're just putting down what it was about them, just your thoughts on them, how they made you feel, what maybe they said, and whatever you can remember. Okay, perfect. And now I just want you to just gently notice how you're feeling. And now forget about this person. I don't want you to compare this old person with the new person, but I want you now in this right hand box to think about someone that you love dearly. And what is it about them that makes them so amazing? Why do you enjoy being around them so much? Why are they so wonderful to be around? You know, the why are they so amazing? Remember, don't compare. Just giving this wonderful person your full focus. What is it about them that makes them so wonderful? And just writing down what that might be. And just stopping where you are. How are you feeling right now? What are you feeling right now? Now, most people, when I ask this question, say they're feeling happy, warm. They have good memories that come up of this wonderful person, maybe even wishing that they're right here, right now. Things like this. Now, don't worry if yours aren't exactly the same, that's okay. Now, I want you to reflect, not now on the person of how you're feeling, but how you're feeling 30 seconds ago about that difficult person. Maybe anxious, sad, frustrated, right? Noticing this amygdala, the security guard, been sending those threat messages, and then you responding to them in an embodied way. And then now, 30 seconds later, all those feelings are gone. Maybe even completely, in 30 seconds. Incredible. Well, this is your body. We have both this stress response system and the relaxation response system, or what's better known as a sympathetic and parasympathetic system. So what does this tell us about the mind? That if we're focusing purely on the negative in things, our body will embody those thoughts and feelings, or particularly the thoughts. Now our body will continue to see the threat and act accordingly. But if we can begin to train our mind to see the good in things too, it acts accordingly with that. Now, I'm not trying to say that you have to skip around carefree holding hands with everyone. That would be a step too far, maybe for week 4, but yeah. What we can begin to do is to watch our mind when it wants to get caught up in anxiety, you know, the fear often created by the news and media and stuff like that, and start trying to find what is good in there too. So when you're seeing the mind turning into purely the negative, trying to find something good in there. Now, if I was to ask you, how many things in this world is 100% negative? You know, wind, dirt, chair, laptop, pen, phone, fingers, breath, everything. Now, how many things in the whole world are 100% negative? Not much, right? So then why do we tend to only look at the negative of things? Now, if we really thought about it, maybe 0.001% or something like that, you know, is only really 100% negative. But how much of our time do we spend in that 0.1%? So if 99.9% of life isn't that bad, we have a lot of opportunity for practice. So like you may have just experienced, focusing on the negative engages all those motivational hormones to try and get you to move, to create change. So a good way of shifting how we're feeling is to look for the good in there as well. You know, weigh it up, begin to balance it. Use that wonderful part of our brain that loves to analyze things in that way. Now let's use this virus as an example, with the media and whatnot pumping out death rates and lockdowns and words that create emotion in us. We could miss some of the good that's in there too. Now we as a culture are learning new things. How to be cleaner, how to work from home, how the need to look at ways in which we're traveling better, how much we love our family, how amazing these health workers are. The list could go on and on and on. And this is what I mean. If you have any issues about these questions, please come back to me. Now your task today is to repeat this micro-technique at least once. In 2 days, I'm going to be emailing you with 2 more micro-techniques to try. But for today and tomorrow, just to keep these sessions short and enjoyable, This will be an incredible start, just to help our minds begin to see what is both good and bad in this world. Stimulating, as you've found, that relaxation response, and not keep that spotlight focused on what is bad in the world, your work, your life, your relationships, whatever that might be. This lets you evaluate life properly, not weighed totally to one side. Have an amazing rest of your day, and see you again real soon.